Genuine question. If the RTX 4080 drops in price to match the 7900 XTX, should I buy that instead? And much to my surprise, the overwhelming majority of you said no. Buy the 7900 XTX instead. And honestly, I got respect for that, but I'm also quite taken aback, and I want to talk about that. Okay, look, first of all, I'm gonna clear the air. I'm not a fanboy, I'm not a brand loyalist. I don't shill for any one company over the other. No company of any magnitude like AMD, Intel, or Nvidia has ever sent me anything for me to even be in their good graces to begin with. Yes, I've contacted the companies. Nobody wants to work with a small YouTuber. That's fine. Okay. But you know what that allows me to do? That allows me to bring it to you 100% factual, straight, honest, and I can take the gloves off and tell you how I see it. And this is honestly how I see it. AMD is a phenomenal company. I like them a lot. I love their CPUs. I'm currently rocking a 5800X 3D. Before that, I had a 5800X. Before that, I had a 3800X. I am very much so an AMD fan. But currently, my GPU of choice is the RTX 3080, and I absolutely love it. It is a phenomenal GPU. But with all that being said, if I criticize Nvidia, I am called an AMD fanboy. And if I criticize AMD, I am called an Nvidia fanboy. So which is it? Am I an AMD fanboy or Nvidia fanboy? Let me know in the comment section below. Doesn't matter if I say that, you're gonna let me know anyway. But that's fine. Let's move on. I want to talk about my poll and I want to talk about the results because in all honesty, I'm very much surprised. Nvidia has 88% market share, which means the majority of PC gamers are using an Nvidia product and they love their Nvidia product more or less. So I definitely expected people to say, oh yeah, if you can get a 4080 for the same price as a 7900 XTX, you should totally get the 4080. But instead, after 1500 votes, people are saying no, buy the 7900 XTX. But I think this poll just goes to show how many people cannot stand Nvidia right now. Nvidia was caught red-handed during the 30 series launch saying they don't have GPUs, but they were backpedaling GPUs by the pallet loads out the back door to crypto miners. So obviously there's a lot of people who are upset with them. On top of that, you have a great product like the 3080 being sold at $700. You can't get it. And then they follow it up with a card you can get, the 4080, but they jack up the price by $500. At the end of the day, the 4080 is a phenomenal GPU with some great technology. The problem is the price is terrible. It is overpriced for what you get. It's at a price point where you say, okay, well, I can go with a 4080 or I can save myself $200 and go with the 7900 XTX, and it's going to more or less be about the same, give or take a little bit here or there. Or I can put more money with it and go get a 4090. Either way, the 4080 kind of puts you in a position where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can pay $1,200 for it, but I don't really feel good paying $1,200 for it. And that's really the problem with the card. So again, I ask the question, if the 4080 comes down in price and if it matches the 7900 XTX, should you buy it? Well, according to the poll, no, you shouldn't buy it. And you're also going to say, well, Nvidia would never do that because Nvidia's Ingredia. I hear you, but hear me out. First and foremost, Nvidia has already confirmed they're planning to lower the price of the RTX 4080. In fact, right before this video, an article went live on videocards.com already confirming that in the UK, the new 4080 price is $1099, not $1199, $1099. So it's already come down by $100. Now, will that price make it over to America? I sure hope so. In fact, I hope it falls even more than that, but I'm not so sure that it will. But Nvidia's confirmed they are planning to lower prices of the 4080 by mid-December. Well, gee, I wonder what else is going on mid-December. Oh, that's right. The 7900 XTX is coming out for $1,000. That's what's going on mid-December. Nvidia may be greedy, if that's what you want to say, but they're not stupid. And they see the writing on the wall, and they now know it's time to pivot and start to lower the pricing of the 4080. My local Micro Center had a RTX 4080 last week for only $1,070. That is very close to the MSRP of the 7900 XTX. All right, just think about this for a second. If the 4080 is $1,200 and I could already get my hands on it for $1,070 open boxed, what will the price be if Nvidia lowers it by $100? Does that mean I can now get a 4080 open box for $970? Maybe. And now the 4080 isn't looking so overpriced after all. Sure, maybe a little bit, but nowhere near as much. Rumor has it that Nvidia is able to manufacture the RTX 4080 for as little as $300. So that means they have a $900 profit margin on every single card they make. But that also means they have plenty of wiggle room. So if Nvidia wanted to lower the price to match AMD, they could. I know most of us don't think they will, but technically they could. If they really needed to compete against AMD, they could lower the price and make it exactly $1,000 if they really wanted to. According to my poll, you should buy the 7900 XTX, but the reasons are really what kind of make me scratch my head. You know, things like Nvidia's terrible, we hate Nvidia, we need to stick it to Nvidia, support the underdog with AMD. Now look, I do want AMD to succeed and I do want them to gain back market share, and it's not because I'm pro AMD or anti Nvidia. It's because I am pro-consumer, because I am a consumer and I want better products with better features and services at lower prices and better product availability. And guess what? You get that with true, healthy competition. You don't get that when it's a blowout and one company has 88% market share and the other one only has 8%. If you find yourself in a situation where you can walk into a store of any kind and you can get a 4080 for the exact same price as a 7900 XTX, which one should you buy? Well, here are some pros and cons. If you go with a 4080, you get DLSS as well as FSR. But if you go with the 7900 XTX, you only have access to FSR, so you lose out on DLSS. Next up, we have frame generation. Currently, if you buy a 4080, you have access to DLSS 3, which does include frame generation. AMD has confirmed that FSR 3 is coming with frame generation sometime in 2023. Conventional wisdom would say you don't buy products based on future promises, you buy based on what's available today. And as of today, the 7900 XTX will be launching on December the 13th without FSR 3 and without any form of frame generation. Another point in favor of the 4080 is obviously going to be with ray tracing. The 4080 does a way better job at ray tracing than any card previously, but in a lot of situations, it still needs to rely on upscaling through DLSS in order to have the high frame rates. And now we're heading into the second generation of ray tracing for AMD on the 7000 series cards, and more than likely it will be in line with the second generation of ray tracing on the 30 series cards from Nvidia. So what does that mean? It means that AMD will still be behind in ray tracing. And I know a lot of you, based on the comments that I've seen, do not care about ray tracing. And I have to say, I understand that and I respect that entirely. I haven't really used ray tracing that much, but I am not blind. I see what is coming. Ray tracing is here and it's here to stay, like it or not. It's just the way things are working right now. Everything is talking about ray tracing. It's everywhere. Even in consoles, they're talking about ray tracing. And so honestly, it's here to stay, like it or not, and it is something that you have to consider now. And so if you truly do not care at all about ray tracing, then Nvidia being better at ray tracing is honestly not a benefit for you. But if you're even remotely open to the fact that, hey, I might want to try ray tracing, then definitely in the category of ray tracing, the 4080 is what you would want to look at. But now let's talk about the 7900 XTX and what benefits it can offer you over the 4080. Again, we have to wait for final benchmarks, but from everything we know so far, the 7900 XTX should be faster than the 4080 in native rendering and raw rasterization. If you're one of those people who just want to put the pedal to the metal, go as fast as you can, and you want native rendering, raw rasterization, the 7900 XTX will likely offer you more performance in that category over the RTX 4080. Outside of that, the next big benefit is the size of the 7900 cards. Look, this may not seem like a big deal, but honestly it is. The RTX 4080 is an absolute beast of a card. This thing is absolutely huge. That means for a lot of people in a lot of cases, like literally their actual PC case, the 4080 won't fit the case and then you'll have to go buy a new case. What AMD is promising is that with these new cards, the size is more or less the same as the current generation of cards, and you will be able to just pop out your old card, plug in the new one, and you're up and running. And we're already starting to see that with unboxing videos that went live today. The next benefit is that AMD is using traditional 8-pin power connectors. These are tried and true connectors. You know you can trust them. You know your current GPU will work with it. You don't need any special adapters. You don't have to go buy buy a new power supply, and you don't have to worry about user error, where if you don't plug it in all the way, something might short circuit and catch on fire or something like that. You also have other things like the AMD Adrenalin software. It's a one-stop shop for everything. If you buy Nvidia, you're gonna have to get MSI Afterburner to control your graphics card and change power limits and things of that nature. And then you're gonna have to sign in to GeForce Experience. But if you go with AMD, you have a one-stop shop application that has everything you need in it, and there's no sign-in required. So that's another benefit in favor of AMD. And on top of that, AMD is no stranger to lowering their prices and offering game bundles. So more than likely, if Nvidia actually lowers the price of the 4080 to be more of a threat to the 7900 XTX, AMD will respond, lower their price for a temporary sell, as they'll call it, for the 7900 XTX, and then they'll also be very aggressive with game bundles, and they'll bundle a game with it. I suspect Lies of P will probably be bundled with a 7900 XT or XTX sometime after the new year, and so be on the lookout for that. But look, at the end of the day, the 4080 is a good card. It's just overpriced, and honestly, if the price comes down, I would say it is a really good buy. But at the same time, AMD is no slouch, and it is offering a lot of new things this generation that are way better than the 6000 series cards. And so I'm very excited to see the official benchmarks next week, probably on December 12th, the day before launch, when the embargo lifts. I'm incredibly excited for that. But let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about these two cards? If the 4080 comes down and if it matches the price of the 7900 XTX and all things are equal, you can buy both cards at the exact same price, which one are you buying? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for checking out the video. If you liked it, do me a favor, hit that like button because it goes a long way in helping me out. If you're new, get subscribed. I got a lot of comparison videos coming up with these two cards in my hand. It's coming next week. Stay tuned for that. And until next time, E-Rock out.